G'day trendy travellers, I'm here at the Chocolate and Coffee Expo at Monte Casino. It's a very, very cold night, but I'm going to warm up some coffee and some chocolate. But while I do that, you can take a look at our day in Colesberg. It's a long, dry drive from Johannesburg to Plettenberg Bay, where we will be having a bit of a winter vacay, but there are some interesting stops along the way. Good day to all you travellers out there. Today we find ourselves in the Northern Cape in a little town called Colesberg that is rich in history, and we'll be doing a little bit of exploring, so do join us. Colesberg is best known for being a convenient stopover between the interior and the coast. Mostly people just pass through on their way to their holiday destination, usually Cape Town and surrounds. But here, where the N1 meets the N9, is a wealth of history that would engulf you if you let it. Our first stop is our accommodation for the night, Toverberg Guest House. It is a quaint but beautiful place. Another place of interest is the historic Coniston House. It was built in 1835 by Thomas Pluman, an 1820 settler, and has remained in the family to this day. It was also the venue for a meeting between President Paul Kruger of the Transvaal Republic and the British government of 1894. Furnished with antiques and family heirlooms, it makes for a beautiful historic stay. This little community functions like a family, and Mama Arista de Waal from the Cranes Guest House fills our tummies at breakfast before we are taken on a virtual tour by one of the town elders.
Goed, om nou te begin met Colesberg se geskiedenis. Colesberg is gestig 1830. Met die ontwikkeling van die beskawing van Jan van Riebeeck se dae af, het die beskawing van die suide af beweeg na die noorde toe, geleidelik, en hier in hierdie area, Colesberg, het die heel noordelike baken gestig, die Plettenberg baken. En Colesberg is toe hier gestig in 1830 as 'n fokuspunt van die beskawing wat hier by mekaar gekom het. En van hier het dit oor die rivier gegaan, Oranje rivier, na die noorde. En dit dan weer oor die rivier geblom na die diamantvelde en goudvelde. Maar in Colesberg was 'n fokuspunt gewees met al die soorte kulture wat hier by mekaar gekom het. Ons het hier so baarmakers gehad, ons het hoedemakers gehad, ons het 'n fabriek gehad vir mineral waters. So ons het al die verskillende kulture gehad hierso. 'n sterk Joodse kultuur wat ook 'n sinagoge gebou het hier in Colesberg. Wat 'n replika is van 'n Russiese sinagoge. Die sinagoge is hier gebou. So hier was 'n baie sterk Joodse kultuur in Colesberg. So was hier ook 'n Engelse kultuur, 'n Skotse kultuur. Van al die soorte kulture het ons hierso in Colesberg by mekaar gehad.
We did pass the synagogue on our way into town, which is, surprisingly, currently used as the ShopRite U-Save.
Waar ons nou hier staan, was eintlik die senter van die dorp gewees. Die ontwikkeling het hier begin. Ons het die winkels hier gehad. Ons hier regoor, wat ons kan sien, het ons die groothandelaarszaak Dryper en Ploemen. Hier agter my is ook 'n winkel gewees. Die groothandelaarszaak Dryper en Ploemen. Wat belangrik van hom is, hulle het hulle rips uitgestuur na verskillende dorpe. En die ene rip was 'n O'Reilly wat gegaan het na uitgegaan na Hopetown. En vandaar het hy toe klippies saamgebring hier na Colesberg, wat vir hom heel interessant gewees het. En hulle toe hier in Colesberg dit verklaar as 'n diamant by Dryper en Ploemen. Die eerste diamant van Suid-Afrika het hulle hierso verklaar as 'n diamant. Hierdie straat hier, wat hier opstap hier na boontoe, was 'n dig bevolkte straatjie gewees. Elke eienaar het sy huis gehad hierso. En Sondag was die gebruik gewees dat ons stap hier van hierdie straatjie af op na die fontein van die dorp wat water voorsien. en dit was 'n gereelde uitstappie Sondagmiddag. En na die boepunt van die dorp het ons ook die waterreservoir van Koosberg, en dit was die publieke swembad gewees van Koosberg. Dit was 'n baie gesogte woonbuurt gewees, hoewel dit later aan vervallig geraak het, en plaasboere het die huisies opgekoop vir oornag, vir nagmaalshuise, waar hulle naweke net in die dorp gebly het. En dan het ons natuurlijk die verskillende kerke hier in Koosberg, die NG Kerk en die Gereformeerde Kerk en die Anglikaanse Kerk en die Methodiste Kerk. Wat besonder interessant is van die 3 kerke, die groot kerke, is by die Anglikaanse Kerk, Gereformeerde Kerk en die NG Kerk, het ons orgels, wat baie goed onderhou is. Die orgel van die Anglikaanse Kerk is so pas gerestoreerd. Hy is een van die oudste orgels in die omgewing. Ek was betrokken geweest by die museum vir 30 jaar, en dit my ten doel gestel om die ou architectuur van Koosberg te laat behou bly. En sodoende het ek van hierdie ou huisies opgekoop, sodat mens kan sien hoe die huise gelyk het in Koosberg. En dat is alles, al die huisies is nou verklaar as nasionale gedenkwaardighede.
In our previous explorations of Johannesburg, we set off from Denaro Tours to Chef Coco in Sandton. We definitely had a great time and got to experience great food, but now let's see what went on when we left Chef Coco's.
Alright, we've just come from Epicure, guys, and the food was everything Busi promised and more. It was awesome. The place was awesome, as you probably saw. So where are we going next?
Oh yeah, I'm glad that you loved the food. And did you not love his presentation?
I did.
Oh my goodness.
Tasty.
You wouldn't even think it's African food, right?
Yes, it's well plated, it's colorful, it's delicious, it's flavorful. My goodness, I was blown away.
I'm glad that you loved it.
Yeah.
So now, we're on our way to Maboneng.
Okay.
And we're gonna meet Tsepo.
Okay.
Tsepo is our tour guide. He's gonna take us through Maboneng.
Okay.
And we're gonna go to my favorite places, obviously there. Okay. And it's all a big surprise. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you anything right now. Tsepo will take care of everything, but I'm sure you're gonna love it.
Maboneng was our last stop, and I was excited to delve into new parts of the district I had never seen before. And I found myself in a new spot I had never actually seen before.
Where are we? Where are we? Where are we?
Look at us. We are in a hideout. We are sitting in the hideout bar where everybody, that is everyone that just loves the outdoors, that just loves the city, that loves being an adventurous individual is here. And this is why I brought you here.
Okay.
My favorite hangout.
Okay. I saw some bikes outside. Is it because you bike? It's because you bike, right?
Of course, yes it is.
Oh, okay.
We sat for a while and recapped on the day's exciting events. And as I looked around, I got to see that the small and quirky space is actually the perfect place to catch up with friends on any night. But we were waiting for someone, and our guide Tsepo was on hand to tell us a bit more about the hideout bar and the backpackers.
It's a very interesting space because it's also home to one of the coolest backpackers in the currently known as Curiosity Backpackers.
Yeah.
Which is also home to a lot of like international and domestic travelers to come and mingle.
One of the many draw cards we were told of this cozy and quirky space is the affordable cocktail menu, and the bartender worked his magic and mixed what he promised to be the perfect winter warmer. Backpackers provide budget-orientated, sociable accommodation where one can mingle and meet other backpackers from all over the world. And from the backpackers, Tsepo showed us a few more places that draw the crowd every night to the district of Maboneng. But finally, we were exhausted and couldn't wait to check in at the 12 Decades Hotel. The 12 Decades Art Hotel chronicles the city of Joburg with rooms and spaces designed and conceptualized by some of South Africa's most celebrated artists and designers. It prides itself on being nothing like the ordinary, and I have to agree that it is nothing like I have seen before. Another notch on the belt for the district of Maboneng.
There is so much happening in our beautiful country, but do remember to catch us on Trendz on SABC using the hashtag TrendzTravel. That's on Twitter and on Instagram.
I always say entrepreneurship are those that see opportunities where others don't.
You can't give me a bad deal. You can't cheat me. Because I'll read my own contract. I know what's going on in my contract. But I've never been afraid of a challenge. I'm one of those people.
I didn't know the difference between my money and the business money. Whatever money that came in used to be your money. You'd go shopping, driving all these cars, and we were forgetting to pay creditors.
If we're more diligent with how we utilize our money. So the great thing with this and my other job, being an advocate, is that in both industries I sort of own my time.
Today we're doing inner city buildings, we're doing commercial projects, and we're doing property development even within the township scale, and even now going to the extent of now even establishing offices in the States to be able to raise capital to invest in Africa.
Keep it locked to Bupilong every Saturday at 5:30.
We've now passed the National Youth Policy, which guides all departments, because when you talk about youth development, you're not just talking about what the NYDA must do. It's what every other department must do. Sports and recreation, social development, the police, and everybody else.
We need a solution. We need, if need be, let the president address us once a month and tell us what is he doing about youth unemployment.
Political consciousness that those young brave leaders had. You would remember very well that it was rife politically.
It's not actually operating in compliance with our rules and regulations. We really take stern action.
We all have a responsibility as South Africans to play our part in strengthening our democracy and building an ever better and prosperous South Africa.
Join your host, JJ Tabani, on Frankly Speaking every Sunday at 8:30.
Guys, we are inundated with choice here at the Coffee and Chocolate Expo. But while I try to decide what I want, why don't you have a look at what else we did in Colesberg? We actually visited a museum. So if you love history, you'll love this one. Phase 2 of our visit to Colesberg took us back in time as we took a turn at the museum.
My name is Lungile Mpemba. You're welcome to Colesberg Kempe Museum. The museum was the first national bank in South Africa, but now was changed to the municipality's office after the municipality office was made as a museum of Colesberg. You're welcome to Colesberg. This museum was established in the 1980s after there was a municipality's office, and now I just want to show you the photo of Colesberg in 1970s. On this picture there is also the old jail where Mandela was also sleeping here from Joburg. The time they take Mandela to Cape Town, he was sleeping here in Colesberg. And the picture, if you can look, it shows also the Colesberg Museum in 1970s and the Dutch Reformed Church.
Mr. and Mrs. Kemper, after whom the museum takes half its name, lovingly donated some of the relics of the Anglo-Boer War found at Colesberg Mountain that you'll see at the museum. And if you enjoy reading and delving into the past, you can read all about them.
We can go now to see the exhibition. At the first room that we are going to see, it's an exhibition, they call it All Roads Lead to Freedom. The exhibition of Colesberg on the Road to Freedom. The Colesberg...
They spearheaded the struggle. It's an interesting story of how this little place had no idea of the riots or revolutionary songs that were rife in townships across the country.
They were the one that was forwarded to the Colesberg struggle. Colesberg, there was a school of welcome. They were visited Colesberg in 1985. So our youth of Colesberg, they didn't know about anything about the riot. So they were coming to play the soccer at Colesberg Kuyasa location. So the time they were playing the school of children of welcome, they were singing the revolutionary songs. But for us in Colesberg, we know Afrikaans language at the school. So it's where they were started. Yeah. So as they were involved in the political struggle, so they called the meetings. If you can look this, there was a meeting at the Kuyasa Hall. It's where the community was also influenced by the Koyo. They call it the Koyo, which is Colesberg leadership of youth.
Colesberg may have been late to join the revolution, but as in all struggles, they too have their fallen heroes, known as the Bongweni Four or the Colesberg Four.
To our museum, because the exhibition is open for everyone, for a community. The Colesberg Four, it was the 3rd July 1985. So the 4 school children was shot ambushed by the police at the location. The name of the children that was shot down, it was December James Morumo, Tozamile Kakamaciki.
Each room in the museum has its own theme, so onward and upward to the next room.
Yes, the Kariki people. The exhibition on this side, we call it the Kariki people or the Karo nomads. The exhibition was a research of Professor Dianka from UNISA University, who was assisted to do the research. These nomads people are the first people that was staying in Colesberg. Even in history, if you read the history from Cape Town, Northern Cape, you will get these people. Even currently now, there are a lot of these nomads people that are staying at the location. They call it from Braggers Camp on the road to Petrasville. We'll get it. Also on the road to Wimpy, we'll get these people. So they were the ship sharing.
To this day, these people live in small makeshift houses that they can pack up and take with them as they move along. Refusing formal housing, they have few earthly possessions and take on odd jobs at farms as they travel.
So after this exhibition, we'll go to the second room. We call it the Old Dolls or the Old Books exhibition.
Old books?
Yes.
Okay.
We can move on that room. So the exhibition here, if you can look, the old dolls we still have in it. So also they call it the dolos. Okay. The children were at the concentration camp of the Anglo-Boreal.
The dolls and books room is quite eerie and a bit sad. There are tea sets that little girls used to play with and music makers. Children will be children even in concentration camps. We are given a taste of fashion back in the day with embroidered shirts and dresses and a corner dedicated to making it all happen. The sewing machine with the tutorial books to help you along. There is even a hair tongue. In the days where hair dryers and hair irons didn't exist, women still did what it took to look great.
This exhibition will go upstairs now to the Anglo-Boreal exhibition.
What are all these?
The trophies.
Trophies, yes.
It's all trophies because Colesberg was, if you can go, Colesberg was also breeding the horse for the race and the netball school.
Halfway up the stairs is the golden plaque, marking the centenary of this remarkable house. Going further back into history, we stumble upon the forgotten era.
So now we'll start from the exhibition of the Anglo-Boreal. So everything that you will see on this room, we call it Colesberg, the forgotten front. So all the exhibition that you see here was found at the Cocosnick mountain. So the war was happening at that mountain. So the English soldiers were staying up on this mountain. So we have two mountains in Colesberg, the Cocosnick mountain and the Skidberg mountain. The African soldiers were on the Skidberg mountain. But the English were very brilliant, because if you are on the top of that mountain, you'll see all Colesberg within 45 kilometers visible. The closest farm, you'll see it. The closest town like Philippolos.
In the kists, you can see tools used during that time and remnants of ammunition, guns, and horseshoes. There is even a hand-drawn map of Colesberg dating back to 1901. In this room, you will find all sorts of memorabilia of war. This room should rightly have been named the Kemper Room. A portrait of the Queen hangs proudly. The last room on our tour is all things Colesberg.
So that's the Cocosnick mountain and the photo of John Novel. John Novel, Novospont was named about John Novel. Colesberg was named about the it was Celery Cole. Yes, and the Colesberg was named after Celery Cole. So this was the street map of Colesberg. All the heritage building that we have in numbers. If someone want to see what was his house number or what was the house was look like, they just come to the museum and see the photo, the street map photo.
So where are we now on this map?
On this map, we are here now.
Here we learn about the strong Jewish element and about the tasty mutton from the merino sheep that is an appetizing commodity here. And finally, the wall of past greats. After a tour of the museum, a part of this history is made alive to us as we venture into the township and pay homage to the fallen at the Colesberg 4 monument.
Here we are at Kilimani Street, Bongweni location. It's where the monument of Colesberg 4 was erected. It shows us the school children were trying to attack the house of the police officer at Kilimani Street. The police were inside the house, but the children, they thought there was no one in the house. They want to put a petrol bomb in the house. But when they were close to that house, the police shoot the children.
The gravesite is our last stop, dedicated to the history of Colesberg, both black and white. Next time you're on your way to Cape Town, stop in Colesberg, spend a few days. It is well worth the stop. We're about to take a really short break right now, guys, but don't go anywhere. Remember that you can catch us on Trendz on SABC using the hashtag TrendzTravel, and that's on Twitter and on Instagram. See you after the break.
You fired! Unfair dismissal. Car accident. Court appearance. Let Trendz Legal tackle your legal problems.
Whether it is a car accident, unfair dismissal, uncontested divorce, unfair blacklisting, or a wrongful arrest, we have tough professional lawyers standing by to assist you.
With the help of Center Legal, I kept my job and I can support my family.
I definitely got value for money. It didn't cost me a cent, just my monthly premium.
There was one man with his lawyer against a big bank and I won.
Car accident, faulty goods or bad service,
You fired!
unfair dismissal. No matter how big or small your legal problems, don't tackle them by yourself. Clientele Legal will do the tough work for you. SMS RIGHT to 32281 and we'll call you back.
Technology is used for both positive and negative.
Some governments block the internet in times of protest.
With this internet blackout, it's impossible for me to do it, so I have to travel to Douala.
This act is a true violation of the rights of citizens.
In Africa, people are always coming up with innovative ways to use technology to solve some of their problems.
The more interesting piece of technology is actually the artificial intelligence.
AI, it's utilizing data to make your life easier.
On Network, we'll give you Africa's technology and social media news.
Catch Network with Spumelele Zondi every Saturday at 8:30 p.m.
How safe is social media? 25 years into democracy and we're still battling with apartheid. Are we really the so-called rainbow nation?
If we can go there, they will beat us something or chase us away.
Kill you also.
Or kill you.
Not forgetting the dangers of substance abuse.
When he brought those things and came to us, it was looking so tasty with crushed lemons and strawberry and colorful straws.
Importance of education for all.
Yes,
Is the judiciary and government failing the people of South Africa? These are some of our stories on Cutting Edge. Catch it every Sunday at 5:30.
Welcome back, guys, and like I've said a million times before, Trendz Travel would not be Trendz Travel without its gastronomers. And with that said, let's go to Calexico. Welcome to the launch of Calexico, the newest addition to 44 on Stanley in the Mill Park district. It is new, but still familiar.
I used to own Stanley Beer Yard, and for those who've been to Stanley Beer Yard, it was a very unique, it was very different, a very different place. Then Mike joined me as a partner, and so what started out as a little revamp where we thought we're going to do a little bit of paint here and a little bit of paint there, we actually ended up gutting the whole store. And this is what we've ended up with. And so it's been the transition. And it was a little bit of a concern for me, because Stanley Beer Yard, for the people who have been to Stanley Beer Yard, it's not like one of the mass franchise restaurants when they close. A lot of people have got emotional connection with Stanley Beer Yard, but it's actually been so well received, even with the people who used to frequent Stanley Beer Yard.
Now, Calexico is not a name you hear every day, so I absolutely had to know its origins.
Okay, so Calexico, how it all started was, so we had another name, and including us, but our wife said, you know what, I think we've got to change the name. Okay, and then one night we started thinking about it, and we thought, you know what are we about? And our first thing, it's about music. Okay, and so me and my partner Mike's, one of our favorite bands is Calexico. Okay, it's actually a band from Arizona in the States. Okay, and they play, so they're a fusion of indie rock, country, and they also bring in a bit of Mexican, into it, and the broad is called Americana. So, so that's one of the things. There's actually a small little town in Southern California called Calexico. And the strange thing is, somebody actually told me the other day, so that's on the American side of the border. Then on the Mexican side of the border, so instead of calling it Calexico, it's called Mexicali. So it's exactly okay. But what is Calexico? Calexico is half is California, and the other one is Mexican. Because what we try to do here, and if you look around, we've tried to bring in a bit of Mexican. First of all, it's Californian boho. You know, that's why you'll see a lot of wood, you'll see the surfboards, you'll see a lot of color outside. You know, what we try to create is, you know, that whole Californian boho, but also with a Mexican influence. So if you think about it, California, Mexico, Calexico, and then also our menu, we try to incorporate Californian and a few Mexican items onto the menu.
As with any restaurant, the food is the most intriguing. So I made my way to the kitchen, where preparations were frantically underway. It was difficult, but I had to stop myself from grabbing a taster here and there. And so, just to be safe, I stole the chef out of the kitchen to catch up on tonight's feast and the overall menu.
We have a menu inspired by a mixture of Californian and Mexican flavors. So we have some beautiful nachos and quesadillas, as well as some smoky ribs, smoky barbecue wings with blue cheese sauce, bringing in a lot of elements that are popular in California. Artichokes are huge, as are sun-dried tomatoes, so you can expect to see those flavors. Our ribs have been a massive hit so far. They are soft and tender and amazing. A note is that most of our meat, if not all of it, is sourced from sustainable sources. Our beef is all free range. Our pork is free range. It comes from a farm just down the drag, so we know that the welfare of the animals and people is looked after. That's an important thing to us. So Calexico is going to be an amazing place to party, so we wanted to make a menu that appealed to people who want to come here and have a good time. So lots of amazing sharing plates, nachos, quesadillas, barbecue smoky ribs, buffalo wings with blue cheese sauce, all the kind of things you can expect to enjoy. We're trying to focus on sharing at Calexico, so you can bring your friends around, order a whole table of amazing food, and everyone can have a bit of everything. We have beautiful rotisserie chickens that are, you know, freshly prepared on the rotisserie and come straight off there to your table, which is great. Along with the ribs and the steak, we have beautiful sides, so a Californian slaw, jalapeno corn on the cob, mac and cheese, all these delicious things that you can share together. Pico de gallo, smashed avo, 3 beans, so just a whole lot of things to dig into.
Of course, the food does not disappoint. The ribs are as succulent and as mouth-watering as promised. In the hustle and bustle of the launch, we find a quiet table and literally pig out on a plate of ribs. What makes this an even better experience is the atmosphere, the ambience, and the music.
So one of our things is, you know, as you see the sign over there, real music never gets old, okay? So one thing that you won't hear at Calexico is all the music that's going on from today, from the 21st century. And, you know, and one of the things that set Stanley Beer Yard apart was the vinyls. So we've got vinyl DJs on Thursday nights and Friday nights. This evening, we've actually got Charles Leonard, who's a legend on vinyl. You know, so we definitely wanted to carry that through. And what we thought would be a unique in terms of the space was putting a vinyl player over there, and there's a box of vinyls, so people could come during the day and they could go and choose a vinyl. Obviously they just ask us to go and switch off our other music, and then you can go and play your vinyls there, you know, so it's a type of a jukebox.
The art is unmistakably Mexican, and if you're not too sure you want to be stared down by a red-faced mural as you eat, you can always opt for the outdoors.
You know, so a big thing for us is the tequila and, you know, a little bit of that edginess, okay? And you know what, that was only completed this afternoon, about a couple of hours ago. So, you know, so there was a bonus that, and the artist is Stefan Smit, who actually did it, and it's, yeah, so that's that. And the inside and outside, and this is, you know, and this is the great thing about this space, because we've also opened it a lot more by expanding the doors. You know, we wanted to create that is not inside and outside, but people can also hire this as a venue. So if they just want inside, you know, come and chill and relax, and also if you just want outside. And one of the big features for us is obviously that fireplace. It's amazing. Most restaurants during the year, their quiet times, their quiet months are May, June, July, August. But those are usually our busier months, because people come and they really love the fireplace.
All in all, Calexico is the hottest place to be on these cold winter nights.
For all its tree-lined avenues and exclusive boutiques, Paris is still short of luxury hotel rooms, meaning the reopening of the iconic Lutetia in the heart of the Swiss left bank is good news for wealthy globetrotters. The hotel was founded in 1910 and between the wars hosted an arty crowd including Ernest Hemingway and Pablo Picasso before becoming a Nazi headquarters during the occupation. Then it was a safe haven for refugees after the liberation. After a $233 million four-year refurbishment, the hotel is set to reopen its doors with an array of 184 rooms, 47 suites, a spa, an indoor pool, and a jazz bar with a frescoed ceiling.
Well, I would say that for the Lutetia the main point is the location, because we are the unique property, Palace Hotels, located on the left bank, and all of the Grand Hotels are located mainly on the right bank. So this is the first point. The other point, I think, is to be located in a place where we consider that it's a very Parisian place. Donc, ce que nous avons souhaité dans le cadre de ces rénovations, c'est favoriser le fait que les personnes puissent revenir, c'est-à-dire le monde des arts, de la littérature, du cinéma, puissent fréquenter à nouveau le Lutetia, et pour cela offrir des espaces grands, très faciles à utiliser, qui offrent aussi beaucoup de confort, avec beaucoup de lumière, et une offre qui soit disponible 7 jours sur 7 et du matin au soir.
The city already has a cluster of elite hotels, the top rung classed as palaces by the French Tourist Board, and the Ritz and the Crillon have just undergone major renovations. But Lutetia General Manager Jean-Luc Costi told us that his hotel had an advantage.
Yes, in fact the Paris market is not saturated with luxury or upper upscale supply in terms of rooms. We have a few iconic palaces in Paris, but if we compare to London, Moscow, Tokyo, New York, or all the international economic gateway worldwide, we are still a bit behind in terms of supply, so there is still some space.
For all its vaunting of its arty past, the 6th district of Paris is now home to top designer boutiques and some of the city's most exclusive neighborhoods. A night in a junior suite at the new Lutetia will set you back about 1,500 euros. But CEO of MKG Consulting and hotel expert Vangweli Panayotis told us that in comparison to its major international rivals like London and New York, Paris was still lacking in luxury hotel space.
Yes, I think there is a lack of luxury from this side of Paris, because the area of the Champs-Élysées has already some palaces. There is also Place Vendôme where some palaces, and on the left side of the river there were a lack of palaces. So now a big hotel is back on this area, which is completely in line with the overall environment and neighborhood, which is quite luxury also.
Just 2 or 3 years ago, opening a luxury hotel would have been wildly optimistic. Tourists had fled France after a series of attacks blamed on Islamist militants. In November 2015, assaults in Paris killed 130 people. Occupancy rates of Paris luxury hotels fell by 15% to 52% in 2016. Now the tourists are coming back and the Lutetia hopes to get its share.
Guys, it's time for a mini coffee break, so while you do that, we'll be right back with more of Trendz Travel.
Oza, come here, man. This place is looking a mess.
Boss, you holding the plans upside down.
Don't talk back. Mamba, you fire!
Unfair dismissal. Let Clientele Legal tackle your labor issues for you. We have tough, professional lawyers standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. SMS DEFEND to 32281 and we'll call you back. SMS now.
The Africans want the franchise on the basis of one man, one vote. They want political independence. We have made it very clear in our policy that South Africa is a country of many races. There is room for all the various races.
The idea of a democratic and free society. It is an idea for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an idea for which I am prepared to die.
Africa Day is the annual commemoration of the foundation of the Organization of African Unity. The OAU was formed in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia on 25th May 1963. The organization was founded by 32 countries. A further 21 states have joined gradually over the years, with South Africa becoming the 53rd member on 23rd May 1994. The African Union was established on 26th May 2001 in Ethiopia and was launched on the 9th July 2002 in South Africa.
We are losing the best of kids. People that are fathers or pastors that comes from a church.
No taxi, nothing. We were not notified. I get to town, there's nothing.
It is almost time to say goodbye, but before we do, we've got some cool things for you to check out, so here we go.
A piece of Russian culture is making its wave in the international fashion scene, thanks to female soccer fans from all over the world who came to watch the month-long World Cup. The Cocosnick is a traditional headdress worn by women and girls, and the designs go from simple, like a headband, to complex, with tall crests decorated with precious stones and pearls. These days, fans wearing Cocosnicks can be seen everywhere, inside the stadium, out in the fan zones, on the streets, in bars in host cities.
It's beautiful, yes. And it's painted, it's hand painted, it's beautiful, it's handmade, it's Russian art, it's beautiful, yes, very much. Thank you very much, thank you.
For designer Tatiana Dombrowskaya, whose brand Patriotka or Female Patriot, the popularity of this headdress is a big boost for Russian culture and fashion. She started her business in 2015 and offers a wide range of colorful and historic designs.
Играют наши, я очень хочу болеть в Кокошнике. Мне кажется, это должно принести удачу, если честно, очень болею.
Some of them cost up to $300 US, but for those fans on a budget, there are pieces that cost from $15 to $80 US.
Соседа, поправим соседа. Сосед, как у тебя дела?
Это та наша культура, которую турист может увезти. То есть это настолько символично, потому что он забирает наш традиционно русский головной убор, при всем при этом с каким-то видом и со значимым историческим элементом.
Я езжу в метро в кокошниках. Я никогда... Для меня кокошник подходит ко всей одежде в моем гардеробе.
Да, только это современное исполнение. Настя, как называется эта техника?
Guys, I'm inside Sweet Temptation, so there's so much here tempting me. But while I have a look at this, why don't you take a look at our gig guide?
Winter is all about keeping warm and comfort food, so why not come and experience the taste and flavors of Burundi? Choo Choo Junction in Linden, Gauteng will be hosting the Taste Destination Burundi edition, where you will be able to sample 8 traditional dishes. This will be going down on the 25th of July, so if you aren't able to travel to Burundi, why not let your tongue? As part of the nationwide centenary celebrations of Nelson Mandela's posthumous 100th birthday, Joburg Theatre is bringing together 4 living South African musical legends: Jonas Gwangwa, Abigail Kubeka, Sipho Hot Sticks Mabuse and Dorothy Masuka, together with the nation's foremost youth vocal ensemble, the Mzansi Youth Choir, for a 3-night-only concert to honor and celebrate in song the late great global icon Madiba. Audiences can look forward to an evening of music intertwined with story and imagery as the living legends share their musical memories, experiences and inspirations they drew from South Africa's founding father. This is one not to be missed. All happening on the weekend of the 27th to the 28th of July. It promises to be a concert like no other. On the 27th of July, come and be wined and dined in one of Newtown's best-kept secrets, the City Chic Turbine Hall. Marked as the secret dinner, you can experience award-winning food, sip on signature drinks selection, and spend the evening painting the town red amongst the turbines of one of Jersey's oldest power stations. The 28th of July, you are cordially invited to the annual Winter Masquerade Ball at Moyo in Melrose Arch, hosted by Baylor Africa. Come out and enjoy a night of dinner and dancing. Coming up in August, looking for something to please your palate? Well then, let the Mr. Hills Country Hotel hook you up with that good. On the first weekend of August, come and indulge in a cozy evening where fresh chocolate will be complementing the distinctive flavors of brandy, accompanied by some live entertainment.
A post-graduation botany student in India's southern Trivandrum city combines science and nature in a unique way by digitizing a palace garden on the lines of Digital India, initiative by the government of India. The young man, Akhilesh Nair, documented all the 126 species of both tree and garden plants in their palace campus, spanning 21 acres and linked to the information with a QR code unique to each of them, to a website through a mobile application, enabling the general public to get an access to the information about the trees and plants in the garden. The details of the trees accessed with the application includes its species, nativity, distribution, botanical character, and including flowering period at the moment. But Nair and his professor, Dr. A. Ganga Prasad, are planning on more diverse and detailed knowledge about the big greens.
The 21 acres of Kanokunu Palace is function as a unique model of conservation of biological diversity and ecosystem management. And in this project, we linked all the tree and garden plant species of Kanokunu Palace with QR code. And through QR code, all the persons who visit Kanokunu Palace can access the more information of the trees and garden plants. And through this digitization, Kanokunu Palace becomes first digital garden of India.
Kanakakunu Palace is one of the most important tourist places in Trivandrum and has been declared a heritage monument by Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage and is a unique model of conservation of biodiversity and ecosystem management.
Agenda of this project was to reach our ecosystem and biological diversity to the public because we have to convert our book knowledge to the public knowledge. Botany is always considered as a dry subject.
A culinary skill teacher from northeast China's Liaoning province, recently expressed his enthusiasm for the recent World Cup by carving patterns of football stars' faces on watermelons. Football stars' facial patterns were vividly shown on the watermelon, just like paintings on paper.
定它的轮廓，这个是食品雕刻入门当中较难的一种技法，要求刀法的精准度，有偏差，整体作品就变形跑形了。
He usually spends more than 2 hours concentrating on carving the watermelon for each single piece of work. He has been learning, practicing, and teaching in food carving for 16 years.
比方说一些球星的脸部图案。一些明星的图案，还有一些动漫的卡通图案，因为我们毕竟是年轻人新一代，我喜欢做一些新颖的东西，有创意的东西。
Well, that's all we have here on today's edition of Trendz Travel. We hope that you enjoyed it as we certainly did. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Do remember to catch us on Twitter and on Instagram using the hashtag Trendz Travel, all on Trendz on SABC.